What's up, guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2014 Volkswagen Touareg TDI. Up front is a 3.0-liter turbocharged diesel V6, and down below is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Touareg for two reasons. First of all, I've actually never featured a Touareg here on the Shooting Cars channel, so it's always good to check another model off of my list. But the second reason is the fact that this is the diesel. I think it's an incredibly overlooked vehicle, and of course, with all the Dieselgate scandals, I think it has an interesting story to it. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that diesel V6 under the hood. Well, like I said, it is turboed. Now, this car makes great power and torque. However, of course, it is shrouded in the Dieselgate controversy. So back in the 2010s, Volkswagen was accused of cheating the emissions. Basically, the cars would lie to the emissions testers and say that they were running a lot cleaner than they actually were. They ended up getting caught doing this, and it was a whole scandal. I'm sure you can find some great video essay on YouTube. But the long and short of it is that most of the cars were bought back by Volkswagen and crushed. So finding a diesel here today is actually kind of hard to do. A lot of people just opted for the buyback program and went on their merry way. But there was another option. You could keep your diesel, they would fix it for you and give you a warranty. So there are still some diesel Volkswagens floating around today that still have the 10-year Dieselgate warranty. Now, that is going to be up either at the end of this year or the end of next year, so time is dwindling for it, but this is a Dieselgate vehicle, and I thought you should know that. Like I said, paired to it is an 8-speed automatic transmission. All the Touaregs came with 8 speeds, whether they were gasoline engines or diesel engines, and I think the 8-speed is fine. It's doing the job, and I have no complaints about it. Last but not least, this is all-wheel drive. So how's it feel to drive a Volkswagen Touareg diesel from 2014? Well, there's this sort of confidence that comes with this vehicle. That's why I love diesels, especially higher cylinder diesels. I do love my 4-cylinder diesels, but there's just a certain oomph that comes with driving this vehicle. It has a sort of grandiose drive to it, and I really, really like that. There's no hesitation in the power band. There's no worry. It's just good. Visibility is great as well. Steering isn't too heavy. Road noise isn't too loud. Suspension isn't too stiff. Overall, it's a good car. Would I say it's fantastic in any of those categories? Not particularly, but I think it covers them all very well. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a mix of physical and digital gauges. Off to the left, I have my coolant temperature and tachometer. In the center is my digital screen. Love this. Because it has so many different colors to it, it really does feel nice. That is sort of my barometer when it comes to vehicle displays, is how many colors are they able to show. Kias are always black and white, so to see that little bit of color is a nice pop, and I hope you've enjoyed the screens that I've shown you. Off to the right, we do have our speedometer and our fuel level. On the steering wheel, on the left, we have our skip track, volume, phone options, and voice commands. And off to the right, we have our pages and selectors for that gauge cluster screen that we just talked about. The overall steering wheel does feel nice. It is leather wrapped and overall feels very Volkswagen Group, which isn't always a bad thing. Off to the left, we do have a climate vent as well as our fog light and headlight switches and our gauge dimmer switch. And moving out of the door, we have our power mirror options that are also heated, power locks, 3 levels of memory seats on the door, as well as this really nice wood accent. And then we have our power windows down below. Moving into the center, we do have a little cubby up at the very top. Love that nice little hidden storage. And then we have the infotainment system itself. This was before Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so we don't get that. However, you can Bluetooth your phone to it. And it does have a backup camera, which is nice because this was still 4 years before the government legally required them. So it was a nice feature to have in 2014. Then we get our climate down below, dual zone climate and heated seats. Lovely features even in modern vehicles, but super nice to see it back here in 2014. Then we have a ashtray and cigarette lighter that opens up, and then we have the shifter. The shifter is so basic from Volkswagen. I've seen this in so many different products, and it's not a bad shifter. It works really, really well. I'm a big fan of it. It's just funny to see it across so many different models. Off to the left, we have the engine start stop button as well as the power parking brake. And then we have some drive modes. So we have on-road and off-road. Cool that you get to select that, and they do expect you to drive your Touareg wherever. Traction control off, and then this little symmetry circle I assume for right-hand drive vehicles, this is where the off-road mode would be, but I am resting my key in it. There's something interesting with the key. You can either leave it in your pocket and start the vehicle with that start-stop button, or you can put it into the dash and turn it like a more traditional key. It's nice that Volkswagen gave you those options. Then we have the cup holders. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the Volkswagen Touareg TDI, and I am very happy to report that it does, in fact, pass the big friggin' bottle test. Look at that. Then we have our center console and the seats. Like I said, the seats are heated, power, and memory, which are pretty much all of the amenities that I would want in a modern day seat. Very nice to see that here in 2014. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats. So let's go do a back seat review in the Touareg TDI. All right, so we're in the back of the 2014 Volkswagen Touareg TDI, and a couple of things to note. First of all, I do have a wall outlet without a ground, so 150 watt outlet back here, as well as a 12 volt outlet, 2 climate vents, and a little cubby. I also do get this little center console with 2 cup holders in it. Overall, not like a groundbreaking back seat, but definitely very, very comfortable. The nice leather carries on back here. I'm decently comfortable. My knees are not hitting the seat in front of me. My head is not hitting the ceiling. I'm 5'11", not a small guy, and so that is very, very nice to see. Overall, I have to say I'm pretty happy with all of this, and that's a very good sign. So let's hop into the very back. We'll talk about the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so we're on the back of the Touareg TDI, a little button here on the key fob. There we go. Oh, all right. Once we are back here, we do have a 12 volt outlet, and we have some buttons for lowering the rear seats. But other than that, nothing too crazy back here. I will say plenty of space. Big advantage of the Touareg is that it does have a lot of space. This does ride on the same platform as the Porsche Cayenne, so if you're familiar with those vehicles, this will feel very familiar. We could pull this up, and we do get storage down there, of course. Very nice to see all of that. And overall, like I said, nothing groundbreaking like the back seat, but a lot of space back here. I think this is a very underrated vehicle, which we'll talk about in a second, but let's talk about the looks. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I've never loved the look of the Touareg. However, I do have to say I think it aged incredibly well. This does not look like a 10-year-old vehicle to me. I think if Volkswagen put this out today, which they won't because they replaced it with the Atlas here in the United States, but if they did, I think it would still sell well. I think people would still say, wow, look at that new SUV, and you wouldn't really have to bat an eye. So very, very nice to see that. I think overall it looks pretty good. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving this Volkswagen Touareg TDI? Well, I have to say that it's great. I really enjoy driving this SUV. The biggest issue is going to be getting your hands on one because, like I said, that buyback program, because of Dieselgate, really knocked a lot of these out of contention. Or off the market, I should say. But in chatting with the owner before I took this car out, which thank you, Alex, for letting me take out your TDI Touareg, he said he needed something that could tow. He has project cars, he has different things he has to haul around town. He wanted something that could tow, but was relatively affordable. These are not very expensive. And so he was weighing Sequoias and pickup trucks. What can I get? He had a Land Rover before this. And he landed on this, and I think it's a severely overlooked tow vehicle. The diesel has plenty of power. Don't let the fact that it's a 6-cylinder deter you from towing. You don't always need an 8-cylinder to pull trailers. That's just how our American brains work. It's comfortable. You're going to get way more features in here than any base model pickup truck you pick up. Buying a 1997 Ford F-150 XLT is not going to have memory seats and power seats, let alone heated seats. You're not going to have a backup camera. You're not going to have a nice sunroof. You're not going to have good ride quality when you're not towing. And that's where this car really shines. I think Volkswagen was onto something. And if it weren't for the pesky government doing their job to save the earth, or whatever they tell you or tell us, I think we'd see a lot more of these. And I would hope that we would see more of these because they are so good. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Alex for letting me take out his Touareg TDI. Such a wonderful car. Alex was great to work with. I have a feeling we'll work again together in the future. He has some interesting projects that I would like to take a look at. He's been wonderful, and I can't thank him enough. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.